China's communist leaders make a desperate attempt at dialogue, but fail to end the mass movement for democracy. This is the CBS Evening News. Dan Rather reporting from Tiananmen Square in Beijing, China. Good evening. Day by day, China's mass movement for democracy becomes more overwhelming, and the situation becomes more ominous for the leaders of the world's most populous country. It's now Friday morning here in Beijing, and there has been a late development. China's news agency now confirms that in the wee hours of this morning, Prime Minister Li Peng and Communist Party leader Zhao Ziyang came to see the student hunger strikers right back here in the square, where we went to see them earlier in the day. This is the 7th day of a hunger strike by some 3,000 students, supported by more than 1 million protesters here in Beijing, and now hundreds of thousands more all over China. The top leaders of the Communist Party and government made an extraordinary bid to try to talk their way out of the crisis today, but they came away with nothing but more humiliation. Premier Li Peng finally invited leaders of the student hunger strike to a meeting, and he made it inside the Great Hall of the People. Li Peng lectured them, warning that if they don't call off their movement, it will turn to chaos even worse than Mao Zedong's Cultural Revolution. He said the students should leave the square immediately and without preconditions. Protest leader War Kai-shi, in his hospital pajamas, shot back, "Whether we leave the square or not is not ours to decide. It is up to the government side." Li Peng wouldn't budge. He said, "I don't care if you want to listen or not." He would not meet the students' demands. He would not agree to any live, televised dialogue. War Kai-shi fainted and had to be rushed back to the hospital. Later he said, "The government wants us to go back and forget about dialogue. They don't understand the power of this movement." The meeting was broadcast on radio and television, but there are more radios than television in this country. People gathered in the streets to listen. Earlier, Li Peng and 3 other leaders of the party's Central Committee, all except 84-year-old Deng Xiaoping himself, went to the hospital where some of the hunger strikers are being kept alive. They made the rounds, trying to display some bedside sympathy, but they couldn't pull it off unscathed. They had to stand for a stern lecture from one of the patients. He told the party leaders, "It is nonsense to say that the students want to overthrow the party. The problem is that some party members are corrupt. I think we should do as in the United States, that is, to mobilize the hearts of the people, to give confidence to the people. Do you agree?" The topmost leaders of the country all nodded and answered in unison, "Yes, yes." But then their lecturer shot them a zinger, reminding them of the charge that high government and party officials enrich their own families at the expense of the people. "If you want to solve corruption," he said, "begin with your own sons." Meanwhile, in the streets, more than 1 million people were again flocking toward Tiananmen Square, when at 3:30 in the afternoon, a tremendous monsoon-type rain came down, completely out of season. Students talked about an old Chinese belief that violent weather in the heavens is a sign of great change to come on Earth. Government and party leaders hoped that was just superstition. In any case, this much rain would have been enough to break up most rallies of any kind anywhere in the world. But as far as we could see, nobody here went home. Among the marchers, a contingent from the People's Army, declaring a nonviolent victory over their own government. This big blue sign says, "Get rid of the fantasy." It's an indication of what has changed here in Tiananmen Square among the leaders. Anger is up, talk of compromise is out, talk that Deng Xiaoping himself must go, but even more talk that his second man, Li Peng, has to get out. After 5 days of mass demonstrations, the normally spotless square is strewn with garbage and starting to reek. Medical people are warning of the danger of disease. In the headquarters, in the core of the movement, the rebellion, with rain threatening this morning, they moved buses in, put the hunger strikers aboard the buses. It's been a desperate struggle all day against the elements, against that tremendous rain. Everything here got wet. They had to clean it out. In the midst of the grimness and the concern, the deep concern about the hunger strikers themselves, flowers with a ribbon that reads, loose translation, "Don't give up. The whole country is watching you and pulling for you." On the bus, we found one of the original leaders of the hunger strikers, a student who was hospitalized at one point but then came back to join the strike. I asked him what their main demands are now. Li Peng must go, he said. Every day our standard of living gets lower and lower. Li Peng must go. And Deng Xiaoping, he's a little emperor. As wet night fell, the day's battle once again belonged to the students. The top leaders had entered into dialogue, all of it broadcast on Chinese television and radio. But the dialogue simply gave the students a platform for their agenda, which looks more and more now like throw the rascals out. At the end of day 6, the rebellion was still alive and incredibly still growing. Mikhail Gorbachev is back in Moscow tonight with plenty to think about. The Soviet leader and his wife, Raisa, returned home today after an historic and tumultuous summit here in Beijing. Gorbachev's last stop in China was Shanghai. Once again, he was upstaged by Chinese pro-democracy demonstrators. CBS News correspondent Bruce Morton was on the scene.
They have marched by day, they have marched by night. And in Shanghai, this country's largest city, the demonstrations keep getting bigger. Look at the Bund yesterday. Look at the Bund today. A lot of these crowds are spectators and well-wishers, of course, but the number of hunger strikers has grown too. 300 or so today.
For sure, it's for freedom and democracy.
What should the government do right now that would make the students say, okay, they're serious about it?
Yeah, I think first of all, government should admit that our movement is legal.
Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev came to Shanghai for 5 hours today. He laid a wreath at a statue honoring Russian poet Alexander Pushkin, but canceled stops in downtown Shanghai. He never saw the demonstrators. They never saw him. What is happening here in Shanghai seems to be happening all over China. In Nanjing, thousands of students marched. Some lay down, spelling out the characters for democracy. Marchers in Chongqing, students, said they were supporting their colleagues in Beijing. And in Xi'an, which tourists remember for all those life-size statues of old warriors, some of the new crusaders, hunger strikers, lay on the ground, while others marched.
Are you hopeful? Do you think this will make the government...
That's why I'm here. So I think it's hopeful. China and China's future.
Not everybody in Shanghai demonstrates, of course. Most of the city's people went about their everyday business today, or tried to, in a city whose normally awful traffic was made even worse by all the marches. But there are the young people fasting. Some of them, like passionate young people in other times and other places, said today they are ready to die for their cause. Bruce Morton, CBS News, Shanghai.
I'll be back in a moment with the other news of the day, and then we continue our special series of reports on two communist giants amid a revolution in the communist world. Gorbachev, China, and the new face of communism.
Miracle-Gro really produces fierce fruit.
Listen to these champion gardeners in the Guinness Book of World Records. They'll tell you how to get more flowers and more vegetables from your garden.
If you want your onions really big, use Miracle-Gro.
Miracle-Gro grew the biggest dahlia in the Guinness Book of World Records.
Miracle-Gro makes everything grow bigger and better.
You owe it to yourself to try Miracle-Gro. You'll get so much more from your garden. Now the Miracle-Gro no-clog feeder. So fast, so easy, you'll feed your whole yard in minutes.
When constipation plus hemorrhoids twist you in knots, try Haley's MO, the gentle laxative plus a soothing ingredient, so it lubricates for easier relief. Haley's MO, the laxative even gentle enough for hemorrhoid sufferers.
Rich stain and tough polyurethane protection in one. Polyshade by Minwax. Get a beautiful finish in half the time. A finish to be proud of. Polyshades by Minwax.
I had had a cesarean section, and I was concerned about taking any medication because I was nursing my son. The hospital staff gave me Tylenol. I felt it was important that it was safe enough to take while I was nursing.
Carol Hodges trusts Tylenol, the pain reliever hospitals use most. If nursing, consult your doctor before use.
I know I can trust Tylenol because it was given to me by a doctor that I trust.
Now try new gelatin-coated gel caps, only from Tylenol.
A jolt today for the American consumer as the Labor Department in Washington reported that inflation in April took its biggest leap in more than 2 years. Business correspondent Ray Brady has the consumer prices figures and the story behind them.
The big shock came at the pump, an all-time record. Gasoline prices up 11.4% last month. In parts of the West Coast, prices jumped more than 20%.
It's costing me $5 more to fill it now. It's a big difference.
Powered by those increases, the cost of living last month rose 0.7%, sharply higher than in the 2 previous months. Inflation this year is running at 6.6%. Economists, though, see one bright note.
Economists look at the core rate of inflation, which is inflation excluding food and energy, and the core rate of inflation in April was a lot better than it was in March.
Gasoline's up because of Valdez and other interruptions to the oil supply line. Still, higher oil prices hit many consumer items, like clothes and pharmaceuticals. And for businesses in Washington and some other cities, a higher consumer price index can mean $1,500 a year more in commercial rents, a cost that inevitably gets passed on to the consumer. Economists expect gasoline prices to keep rising for another month or two, though not as sharply. But after that, they believe that energy prices and the cost of living will start to level off. Ray Brady, CBS News, New York.
The U.S. Congress gave final approval tonight to the $1.1 trillion U.S. federal budget. Even supporters admit that it's chock full of accounting tricks to make it appear something is being done about the huge deficit without raising taxes. Possible new troubles tonight for House Speaker Jim Wright and his campaign to fight back against attacks on his ethics. Correspondent Deborah Potter reports those problems now include the opening of a preliminary criminal investigation into Speaker Wright's taxes by the Internal Revenue Service.
Under increasing pressure from within his own party to step down, House Speaker Wright is finally getting a public hearing. Next week, his lawyers will appear before a televised session of the Ethics Committee, asking the panel to drop the major charges against him.
We welcome the opportunity for our case, and we believe it is very, very strong to be heard before the full public view.
But there was also bad news for Wright today. Sources say the IRS has begun looking into his business dealings with Texas developer George Malik. And next week's hearing could be critical to Wright's chances of surviving as Speaker. Already, some of his strongest Democratic supporters are meeting privately and saying that it's time for him to go.
I think those that are talking about resignation, it's a very small minority. But some are mentioning it, and that has to be taken into account.
Many Democrats have now joined the Republicans in complaining that the House is bogged down because of the Wright investigation. But party leaders insist it's not so.
We are proceeding with the Speaker's involvement, the Speaker's leadership. There is no either absence of his presence, nor there is any slowdown. We are moving on schedule.
But time may be running out for Wright. While many in Congress say he deserves his day in court, his support is eroding. And as one Democrat put it, if he loses next week, it will be another nail in the coffin. Deborah Potter, CBS News on Capitol Hill.
In Washington today, U.S. Supreme Court action on an abortion case. In effect, the justices stopped Florida from forcing some pregnant teenagers to get permission for an abortion from their parents or a judge. Within weeks, the U.S. Supreme Court is expected to rule on whether it will or won't roll back the landmark 1973 decision affirming a woman's right to choose to have an abortion. Amid mounting concern about U.S. airline deregulation and air safety, the Federal Aviation Administration proposed new rules today for maintaining aging airliners. Among other things, these new rules require extensive modifications to older Boeing passenger jets. These FAA proposals are along the lines suggested recently by the aviation industry. Strange happenings from President Bush out on his speedboat this afternoon off the coast of Maine. It wasn't quite the photo opportunity he might have had in mind, as a Secret Service agent held on to Mr. Bush's legs as the president tried to untangle the line of lobster traps he ran over.
You're on your way.
Kids and
and science can really get together in the right kind of place. So Dow has developed and funded the TouchTech Laboratory here at Impression 5 in Lansing, Michigan.
In this particular experiment, we're going to make a solid out of two liquids.
It's a hands-on museum that puts the wonders of science at a child's fingertips.
Here you go, PJ.
And who knows what that could lead to.
Dow lets you do great things.
Now's the time to get out and go. Hit the great American road. Get up, get over, get smart. Your Buick dealer is the place to start. Now's the time, now's the time. Hit the road, hit the road. The great American road. 'Cause the great American road belongs to Buick.
Mom, I'm too young to get heartburn.
But you're not too young for Tums. It's rich in calcium, and our doctor said teenagers need extra calcium in their diets.
As much as their moms do?
Yes.
Ready?
In a minute, honey.
It's nice to be noticed for what you wear and how you look. And if you wear dentures, it's nice to know Efferdent freshens up dentures and cleans away stains so well. With Efferdent, all they'll notice is you.
The enormous turmoil we're seeing in the streets and in this square today didn't just happen. This is the expression, the explosion of desires and conflicts that have been building up in Chinese society. It's deeper than economics or politics. As Bob Simon reports, it's about people wanting to be free.
Get them together, keep them in line, and they'll sing the same old patriotic songs. And what do they want to be when they grow up, these young pioneers? Party leaders? Planners? Cadres?
I want to be an artist.
I want to be a writer.
I want to be a VIP man.
What's emerging all over China is the self. After almost half a century's hibernation, there is an awakening of color. The spectrum is expanding, skirt length contracting. After 40 years of unisex uniforms, you can tell the boys and the girls apart now. Fashion has become an act of self-assertion and definition. Makeup is making money in the department stores, some of the only places in China where red is still in. There is a craze for cosmetics.
Girls are even putting, what do you call that, putting the color on their eyelids, which nobody would put on before. Unimaginable 10 years ago.
And that's not all women are doing with their eyes. There's been a surge toward cosmetic surgery, from the red star to the round eye. In Dr. Wang's mirror, college student Zhao Li Min sees the old China. In her dreams, she sees Hollywood. After 20 minutes on the table and a local anesthetic, Miss Min says she is a satisfied customer. This kind of thing would have been unthinkable a few years ago. People want to look better and have a better time. That's the new cultural revolution, entertainment, having fun. Old values are being turned upside down. Take artist Jin Shangyi. His old portraits are languishing in the basements of minor museums. His new subjects don't wear Mao outfits, or anything else for that matter. Nudity is the newest rage in China, sanctioned as long as it serves a higher purpose, like art or instruction. These magazines teach photography or health. Bodybuilding, China's new fitness fetish, draws more spectators these days than any other sport. Sublimation stops abruptly on park benches in cities where until very recently, holding hands in public was taboo. So, Big Brother's gone home, everything's permitted, not so fast, as movie director Zhou Jiawen just discovered. His newest film, Obsession, is fast and slick and opens and closes with erotic sequences in a woman's bathhouse. Lyrical, dreamlike, and...
If it, I must cut it out.
What will you do?
I have to do.
The Chinese have learned control and patience. This may be a revolutionary society, but these are not rebellious people. Even these days, when people express themselves in new and foreign ways, they tend to do it in groups. Next door to the 6 a.m. Tai Chi sessions in Beijing, You can now see ballroom dancing at dawn. And not teenagers. The old guard is learning new steps, but learning them together. Only the very boldest are stepping ever so tentatively out of line. When Ma Gong pours paint on his canvas and says he's expressing his inner feelings, he's going against more than socialist realism. He is separating himself from the collective, from the greater being which is China. That's what's new here, and perhaps irreversible.
They're in the race now. They have joined the world. The doors to China are not closed anymore. The Great Wall has an opening.
In this long march from Confucius to confusion, from the Middle Kingdom to the suburbs, the Chinese are making the mind-boggling discovery that despite everything they've been told, underneath it all, they're just like everyone else. Bob Simon, CBS News, Beijing.
When you grip a Delta faucet, you get more than just water. You get a chance to express yourself. Do it right now, and Delta will foot part of the bill. Up to $35 toward installation costs. Call toll-free by May 31st for rebate details and our free brochure. Because now's the time to grab the phone. And a great deal. When you get a grip on yourself. With Delta.
It's Color Tile's Savings Celebration. Our 700th store is open. And to celebrate, every Color Tile has 700 beautiful looks on sale. Now, every ceramic tile is up to 54% off. Every vinyl tile up to 30% off. Every Armstrong sheet vinyl up to 33% off. And every in-stock wall covering is half price. Plus, save on new color carpet. Every square yard of DuPont Stainmaster is up to 41% off. Hurry, sale ends Sunday at Color Tile.
Introducing how not to get stuck with your barbecue. Pam cooking spray helps keep food from sticking here, so you don't get stuck here. Or with as messy a cleanup. Don't get stuck. Get Pam.
Not this much. Not this much. Just this much. New Advanced Formula Kaopectate works fast to relieve diarrhea and cramps. And it tastes better, too. New Advanced Formula Kaopectate. More than ever, the diarrhea specialist.
What's happening here in Beijing this week is something new, something that's beyond the experience of everyone here. Protesters, government officials, party authorities, journalists, police, and even people just standing on the corner watching it all go by. That's what Charles Kurok did today.
This happens to be a corner on Chogongzhuang Street. But the street corners are like this all over Beijing today, and all over the country.
I've been in a lot of big crowds in a lot of big cities. All of us have. But I don't think I've ever been in a genuine popular uprising, something that just comes up from the people. The only strength all these people have is in their numbers. And their only armor is their idealism. It's a profoundly moving thing to stand on this street corner in Beijing today.
The only government authority in sight is the policeman locked in his booth over there. A man says to him, "Come out and speak for us. We're all thinking the same thing." The cop says, "Well, then you speak for me."
He says he'll talk to us when he gets off work at 6.
That man there is directing the traffic. He says he's taken on the job as his worker's duty. And the traffic comes in waves of trucks and bicycles. These are nursery school teachers. This is the patriotic place to be today, out in the streets trying to bring down the government.
What does that sign say?
Mr. Deng Xiaoping, you are old, but China is not old yet.
That's a pretty brave sign.
Yeah, they are very brave. They are calling for Deng Xiaoping to resign.
His name is Li Chongshun, he says.
Do you think all this is going to have an effect? Do you think it's going to lead somewhere and make a difference?
Sure. This is the turning point in China's history.
You're a Communist Party member?
Yeah, I am. Yes.
Are you surprised by what's happening today?
No, I'm not surprised, because people just keep silent for so many years, and they want to, just like a volcano, they want to, how to say that, to explode, yeah, to say what they want to say.
He says, I'm illiterate. I can't even read the signs. I just came out to see what's going on.
Did you ever think you'd see anything like this in China?
I never saw anything like it, he says. It's very nice.
And so you like what you're seeing, huh?
How, he says. Yes. A thunderstorm washed over the city in the late afternoon, and the crowd ran for cover. For a few minutes there, our street corner was nearly empty, and I thought, well, it's over. But there appeared in the rain more wheels, and more bodies, and more banners. On this corner, on this day, it's hard to imagine it ever being over.
And that's tonight's CBS Evening News from China. Join us this evening for a special edition of the CBS News broadcast 48 Hours. Tonight, China Rebellion. That's coming up here soon at 7 Central Time. Dan Rather in Beijing. See you then.
Charge it.
We interrupt this vacation for a reminder. Discover Card is the way to go.
Charge it.
So choose the card that actually pays you cash back for every charge. The Discover Card.
Fabulous.
It pays to discover the card that pays you back.
Smells good.
Like a Carolina pine forest. That's Lysol Pine Action. I cleaned this morning. It disinfects and works fast. But the scent lasts for hours.
It's nice, but how to get a pine forest in there?
Lysol Pine Action. The clean of pine every time.
New Light Scent Love My Carpet. The light scent not to be made light of. It's tougher on tough carpet odors than Arm & Hammer Light. Light Scent Love My Carpet. Delightful.
The John Deere Promise. Buy this new 1989 walk-behind, test drive it for a full month. If you don't agree it's the best mower you've ever used, you can bring it back for a full refund?
The new 1989 John Deere Walk-Behind. We've either got the best walk-behind mower ever made, or we've got a big problem.
China Rebellion. More than 1 million demonstrators demand democracy. Join Dan Rather for a look at history in the making. 48 Hours live from China tonight.
This is CBS.
Good evening, I'm Chris Clark. We'll have these stories and a lot more coming up next on Eyewitness News. Dozens of needy families are being denied food because of a food bank's internal dispute. A shocking murder in Lebanon this morning. The community lost a beloved neighbor. Metro closes down the Bellevue Fire Department but vows to fight fires there. And Hope looks at some big games this weekend for some very special kids. Eyewitness News is next.
Toyotathon Summer Premiere is heating